Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Unfiltered Artist Podcast. I'm your host, Julie Ruby, and today I have a very special guest on the podcast. I have Hannah Kern. She is a very talented bridal hairstylist, and we've been working together for, the last 3 years?
Yeah,
3-4 years?
3 years.
Yeah. Okay, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I know your schedule is probably getting very crazy. We're entering into bridal season.
Yes. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, it's getting busy.
Yeah. So I kind of just wanted to know, well, I mean, I already know, but tell everybody else how you got started as a hairstylist. I guess how you knew that it was your passion. Anything you want to share with us?
Yeah, so I just had a bride trial earlier today, so I was telling her this story. I always was the girl that like everyone wanted me to braid their hair, or like I have 3 sisters and I learned to braid at a young age, and so I was constantly braiding hair and really enjoyed it and really just loved playing around with my own hair. And then I'm very artsy, and so like that flows into every aspect of my life. Yes. And so when I was thinking about career in high school, I was like, I have to do something art related. And so I was like going through like pretty much all the careers and just thinking like, okay, what could I still like find my art passion and drive but turn it into a career. And someone was like, you should think about doing hair. And I did have some friends' moms growing up that they were like hairstylists. And so I looked into that and was like, oh yeah, this is definitely art, like highlights and like color transformations. And at the time, like when I was thinking about it, I wasn't necessarily even thinking bridal hair, but I was just thinking of like hair
in general.
Mm-hmm. And like that is definitely an art form. And so because you're transforming people's whole looks and how they feel about themselves, and I'm a very people person, so like I was just like, yeah, this is the perfect niche for me. And so I went to cosmetology school when I was in high school. There was a career center. It was a 2-year program. I was looking into other schools, and someone was like, you should just do the career center because it'd be way more affordable going that route. So I did that. So I graduated both high school and cosmetology school at the same time, took my state boards, and then started in the salon right away. I worked at the salon for a year and a half. I picked that salon because in cosmetology school, I started to like doing updos a lot because there was this competition called Skills USA.
Oh.
I don't know if you've heard about it.
I have not, no.
It's like, I think it's like all the career schools.
Okay.
Like it's not just hair. It's like multiple careers, and you can compete in your skill.
Is it other things than just beauty related fields?
Yeah.
Oh,
like
okay.
I think electricians or like construction.
Because we had
photography,
like an Anthus Career Center over in Fort Wayne. I don't know if it's similar to that, but it's basically like a work study thing where you went to school and then you did whatever afterwards. And it was for like all the different trades basically.
Yeah. So that's basically what I went to school for. And there was a competition that's like they have state nationals.
Okay.
So I did that, and there's a hair cutting portion, and then there was an updo portion.
Oh.
And so I spent hours and hours perfecting my updo skills, and like it was timed, so I had to like be really fast at doing updos, and I just fell in love with it, and really liked the braids like really quickly. Like I was like, oh, this is my thing. Like I love braiding, which I mean I liked braiding when I was younger, so it's like made sense.
That's a whole other skill.
Yes.
I cannot braid to save my life. It's like 3-strand braid or nothing.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people I talk to, like if your mom or like a friend or sibling doesn't teach you at a young age, most girls don't learn.
Know how. Yeah.
And it's like,
that's very true.
I mean, it is hard to braid your own hair, like even for me sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did Skills USA, made it to state, which I was really, that was exciting. One of my classmates got to go to nationals, so I was like really happy for her about that. But I just fell in love with updos, and that's kind of when I had some friends that got engaged shortly after that, and they were like, can you do our hair? I know you're still in school, but like, can you do our hair for the wedding? And it was like 3 of my friends. And I did their hair. One was in Virginia, and so that was the first wedding I ever did.
Oh, very cool.
And so I was going to attend her wedding anyways, but she had me do her hair and the bridesmaid's hair, and I just was like, loved the atmosphere. I loved like the feeling, and like everyone's all giddy about the wedding, and I just really loved it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I wish this could be my full-time job. Like this is awesome. I had no idea like full-time bridal hair was even a thing at the time. I just knew
it may not have been, honestly.
I don't know. I think
or very close to it.
Yeah. I know there are some out there that have been doing it for a while, but like I had never heard of it.
Right. I just feel like it was more common to be part of a salon and then be sent out to do weddings. But with the 2 of us working independently, it really wasn't a super common thing.
Yeah, I think even still, like, even though I know more about, like, the other people out there that do it, like, it's very niche, and there's not a lot of people that do it. So, yeah, I fell in love with weddings, like, instantly. And so I picked the salon that I worked at out of school based off of they did a lot of weddings. Okay. It was a really close salon to Notre Dame and the Basilica there.
Oh,
it's like
that's
really
nice.
popular to
Yeah,
get
it's a good
married
area.
there.
Yeah,
it's beautiful. The Basilica is gorgeous, and so we did a lot of those weddings. We'd get like 4 bridal parties in, sometimes in one day.
In one day?
Yeah, because like the time slots. So we'd be doing like our whole team was doing wedding hair from like morning till afternoon of just like bridal party after bridal party.
Oh
I loved it. My coworkers hated it. I feel like there was like only 3 of us that like enjoyed it, but even them would be like, oh, I wish I was doing like color or something else.
Yeah, cuts or colors. Yeah.
And so like all my coworkers like, you can take the brides, like we don't want to do
you got this, you're good, we trust you.
And I was like, yes, I love this. So like even early on into my career, like it was my thing. Other people were noticing it was my thing, and I started posting a lot on Instagram of my updos, and I started getting like DMs all the time like, hey, do you travel? And our salon did do on-site, but like they didn't prefer it, and so we didn't really book a lot of on-site. So I actually never even worked an on-site wedding with them. Like we were only in salon, which is like a totally different feeling than like
completely. Yeah, completely.
most wedding days.
Like everything's there, but then when you go on site, you got to transport everything with you.
Yeah. So, and like since it was our whole team in the salon, it's like I might be doing only like 2 or 3 people in that bridal party.
Oh, true.
Because there was like a whole bunch of us. Yeah. So it was like we could get a bridal party done really quickly, but it's just a different feeling than on site. So I kept like turning down people, but the curiosity kept getting to me. I was like, okay, people are like clearly interested in like booking me for like wedding hair. And so like, I don't know, that was just like in the back of my head. Like I wasn't really thinking about that. I was thinking of the typical hair career of like, okay, like you work at a salon for like 3 to 5 years, and then you go and get your own studio, or you booth rent, or like you just go that route. And I don't know, it just wasn't on my thought process. And then COVID happened, and I did during that time like get the idea for doing bridal hair full time, and just kind of went for it. And it was like no looking back. Like I put in my 2 weeks and I went for it, and I was like, this could go great or it could go terribly wrong. I don't know.
That's literally so deep right there.
I was like, it could go either way. I lived at home, so it was like no big bills to pay. So I was like, I had money saved up, and I was like, well, let's put it into a business. Like, why not?
There you go. Backtracking just a little bit, I did have a question that came up. So did your salon not let you freelance like outside of that salon? Was it like a conflict of interest or something for them? Yeah,
I don't like if someone booked us for a wedding, like the salon would send maybe like 2 people to go do the wedding.
Okay, but like what if you did it on the side? Like would they have been okay with that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Like honestly, like I didn't really look into it like while I worked there.
All right.
But I don't think.
Okay. I was just wondering because I used to work for Mac
Okay.
and they never let us freelance outside of the company.
Okay.
And so that's why I ultimately left.
Yeah.
Just to have freedom.
Yeah. They like really didn't want us leaving the salon.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Which I mean, when I started, I was totally fine with. Like, and we had a lot of bridal parties coming in, so like I was getting my fill of like wedding hair.
Right. Right.
But I don't think they would have probably allowed the freelancing.
Yeah. So what ultimately made you decide to want to branch out on your own then? Because you did it during an interesting time.
Yeah. So I just like, I got the idea and I felt, I don't know, I just was in this time period of like feeling like there was something like I had an itch to like just kind of go out on my own. But the idea just kept like coming back up of like, I don't think you're meant to be at the salon for like a long time. And so it just, I felt peace about it. And then the lockdown happened. Like, we were closed for like 2 months. And so I just like took that 2 months and like researched everything it would take to like do this full time. Because I was just like, I was at a transition point, like mindset of like, okay, like it's either a different salon or like I'm gonna do this. And so I was looking up all the things. Originally I was like, okay, like I could be an on-site stylist, but like I was thinking more of like the mobile salon where it's like you have a trailer and the salon's in the trailer. So that was like originally the idea that I was going with. And I was researching that, but then I was like looking at what that would cost to like totally redo a trailer.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I was like,
even the trailer itself isn't cheap.
No, yeah, the trailer and then the renovations and then like just everything that would be. And I'm like, is that even gonna be like super easy and doable? Like, am I gonna enjoy this? Like, after, I don't know, like it was just too complicated. Right. So that's originally what I was looking into during that like 2 months. And then I was just like, no, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. If I'm going to do this, I'll just be on site. So I then looked at what it would be to be a mobile salon and got my license and approval to be a mobile salon, which is just like basically having your kit and going on site. Yeah. So I got licensed with that and then just kind of started a website and like all these different things and put in my 2 weeks once the salon opened. And like I was pretty young and a lot of my coworkers, like I thought, like, I don't know, I was like, this could be the worst decision of my life. I was like, I'm young and who knows how is this gonna go, and this is not the traditional path that most hairstylists go. Yeah. But like a lot of my coworkers were really supportive and like, good. I think you're gonna kill it. And like,
were they shocked or
I think they were shocked. Okay. But there was a couple of them that were just like super supportive and good. Like you're gonna do amazing.
I'm sure they wanted nothing but the best for you.
Yeah. No, I definitely felt the support,
especially with how much you liked updos too. I'm sure it showed.
Yeah.
You're like, oh yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah, I was like I was so excited and like so obsessed with it, and they all knew that because like that's all I
Girl, you're still obsessed, and that's why you're so good at what you do.
I still am. Yes. So they were. Yeah, I definitely felt very supported in that transition, and went for it. And you know, things were still like kind of like iffy on like what COVID was doing, and I didn't really know how that was gonna work, but at the time, like, at least everyone I started talking to was like, okay, there's going to be a whole boom of weddings because of the lockdown. Like, people having to push back their weddings and all of that. And so I was like, okay, this is looking like it's going to be a good thing. And yeah, I posted, like, I did a little mini branding shoot, like, very boho and, like, of outdoors. Course, and started posting, and I got like that first first year, like 10 weddings, which I was not expecting. Like
during 2020.
Yeah, like towards the end of it, like they were like more late fall, winter when things were starting to be okay. Very small, intimate weddings because you weren't allowed to have the big ones. But yeah, I got a whole bunch of brides that were like interested, and then like brides booking me for the next year, and I was just like shocked. Right. And I got connected to the right like photographers and like wedding vendors, did a bunch of styled shoots, and like that just like totally like opened up the networking of like people referring people to me, and it just kind of boomed from there, which was like really great.
Yeah, I know. When you look back, it's probably really crazy to think about too. It's like, wow, I really did not know if this was going to pan out or not, and then somehow everything just lined up.
Yeah, I definitely, it was a big risk, but like I don't know, I feel like most of my life I've been very like entrepreneurial, like creative, like just go for it, see how it goes type thing and make it happen. So I was like very happy that still to this day I'm doing full-time bridal hair.
Yep, I was like, she's still here, guys, she's still here.
I'm still doing it.
No, and yeah, as you said though, going back a little bit, there's not a lot of people that I found at least that do what you do. You know, there's not very many people, as you mentioned, that really like doing updos. Every single time I talk to cosmetologists, they're like, oh yeah, I love colors, I love cuts, like mostly colors is their thing. But yeah, there's not a lot of people who are just like, nope, I just love doing updos.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the oddball in the field. Most hairstylists absolutely hate doing it. Yeah. Get a lot of anxiety from doing updos. Like I've done one-on-one like training with stylists, and I've done classes, and I mean a lot of people just don't enjoy it, and they get really nervous. And like if they're in a salon and booking salon weddings, I just feel like the vibe is so different with wedding hair in salon than not. And so if you're not like putting in the effort to like keep up with the trends, like training of like how to do the updos, like if you're not like comfortable with it and like continuing to practice it, like it would freak you out. Like, and it's the wedding day, the most important day of a bride's life. And so it's like you don't want to screw it up, and so there's pressure in it. I'm such a go with the flow person. Like the pressure doesn't really bother me. Like
that's good. Did it ever, or like when you first started, or
there's been moments where like the pressure, I think it's just like it's their most important day, so like, you know, there's that, and you want it to be like
as perfect as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there is a little bit of pressure, but like I mean there's been moments of pressure that I've been like, okay, like I gotta do this, but overall, like it's never bothered me. I've loved it. Like I love the atmosphere.
Just pure excitement.
Yeah. And all my coworkers, I just remember they'd be like, we're gonna give you the updos, like, and even like when leaving, they're like, we're referring all of our brides to you. Yeah. And I still have people to this day that are like, yes, we refer all of our clients to you when they say they're
that's
doing
really good
hair.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was really thankful for that, because that's like great networking, but also I found out I'm very unique. And even when I do classes and people like salons, or I go back to my cosmetology school and do a class, it just like opens my eyes to like how many stylists really don't like doing updos and aren't comfortable with it. So
no, you're literally one of the few, probably one of like 3 people that I know of off the top of my head that love doing updos and bridal styles.
Yeah,
it is very unique.
I love it. I think it just goes back to like I love art, and it's like a masterpiece. I love figuring out how to make it look just like the picture, and I'm very visual, so I think that helps. Which I think most hairstylists are creative and are visual. But if you don't enjoy the pressure of the weddings, and if you're not enjoying the art, most creatives aren't going to do it.
Right.
And I just happen to enjoy it.
Yeah, and it definitely also stems with like how much practice and how much energy that you want to put into it too. That's the same with being a makeup artist too. Like you can tell the people that are kind of just doing it for money at that point in time, but don't really truly enjoy it.
Yeah.
But you can tell in photos or in person. It's like you can tell when people's true passions come through.
Yeah.
And I think it definitely visually shows.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't think there's money in weddings too, like at least hairstylists, because if they're doing mainly in salon weddings, you're not making a lot.
Right.
Like if there's multiple people working
especially if it's
on
like a
it.
commission thing too.
Yeah. So it's, I mean, when I worked at the salon, it was commission 40%. So like, yeah, you're not making a whole lot, and the prices were definitely different then. And in salon, you're not traveling and you're not having to haul stuff. So pricing is just very different. Yeah. So a lot of stylists, I think that there's not good money in doing bridal hair, but I found that it was a great career to be in.
I can tell you firsthand that weddings as a solo person do make you a pretty decent amount of money at times.
Yeah, it's crazy hours on the weekends, which
Very
most people
crazy.
don't like.
But then we're off during the weekdays for the most part, except for when you're doing trials and stuff.
Yeah,
but
trials,
besides that,
emails.
though, it's like honestly pretty chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, and I'm going to brag about you for a minute, so get prepared. You knew this is coming. I'm going to say right now, hands down, that you're probably like the number one most talented person I think that I've honestly ever met as far as the hair world goes. Thank you. Yeah. Like I just really admire you for how much energy and effort you put into like everything that you do. I think that it like, okay, so the very first time I think we met was it at the Wooded Knot for Cassidy's wedding? I think that's the first one. And poor Cassidy. So she's a local photographer in case she ever watches this. Very talented, by the way. Like I love her photography
I love
too.
her
Like she has a really cool style.
It's so pretty.
Yeah. But she actually went through like 3 makeup artists before she actually chose me.
I remember that. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I don't know if you heard or not. But
yeah.
They just didn't like end up, going with their vibe, or, didn't end up loving something for some reason, which is fine. Like not everybody's meant to, be with that person. So I'm glad that we ended up matching up. But then I saw Hannah and met her at this venue, and I hadn't ever run into you before, so I was like, where are you from? And you said South Bend. I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Why we've never run into each other before. But yeah, no, when she was creating Cassidy's hairstyle, I think that's probably one of the most elaborate hairstyles I think I'd ever seen. Was there like feathers and like stuff going on?
Like really pretty boho accessories, like 100%. Florals and like the little wispies coming out of it. Yeah, yes. It was very intricate.
Yeah, a lot of braids going on.
Yes.
It was like pretty much all up, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like a side updo, and it had like
because I think it went out
braids.
to the side a little bit too. Yeah,
she like picked a really non-traditional hairstyle that was like very boho and updo.
Yeah, I've actually never seen you do that again. Like since then.
No, she like picked a really great hairstyle.
Yeah, no, I absolutely loved it, especially for her too.
Yeah,
it just like suits her a lot. But no, I don't know. I couldn't stop staring at the hairstyle. Like I almost didn't want to leave the venue because I'm like, I need to see this thing complete. Because I remember you were still working when I had to leave, and but I was like, oh my gosh, I was like, this is so freaking pretty, and you can just tell like how much time and energy you take, like meticulously making sure that every single piece has its place. Yeah. And I think that definitely comes from the more artistic side of it. Like you can kind of see everything visually as a whole and probably almost picture it in your head how you want it to look like, and you pretty much finagle it until you figure out how it's going to replicate in person.
Yeah, I remember like early on when I was doing the competitions, like my one cosmetology teacher, she told me like, you're the boss of the hair, you don't let the hair boss you around. And
you are the hair boss.
I feel like that has helped me like with so many, like accomplish so many different hairstyles and like even hair textures, and like get rid of the fear of like, oh my gosh, they have frizzy hair, oh my gosh, like this or that, or they said that they don't like their hair doesn't hold curl. But like that just one statement like really mentally changed the game for me, I think, because I just look at each hair type and hairstyle as like, okay, like I'm the one bossing it around, it's not bossing me around. Like,
that's a good way to think about that.
I can make it happen if I take the right steps and use the right products. So that's kind of like, I don't know. It's just stuck with me ever since.
No, that's a really good way to think about it. I've never had anybody tell me that. So
yeah, it literally, like, when I'm having a hard time on hairstyle, I'm like, no, like, you're gonna make it work. It's going to work.
I was gonna say, I'm sure we've all silently panicked in our head when things aren't working out. It's like, yes. I will go from super talkative to completely silent. Like, you will clearly say, I like to call it, like, well, so especially for makeup artists, it's like the makeup artist panic, but like everybody knows what it is.
Yes. Yeah, I always tell brides, I'm like, okay, if I get quiet and my face is really serious, I'm just really focused.
Yeah. Like, it's not you, I'm just really focused.
I'm trying to solve this problem in my head.
Since I might be fucking something up and I can't figure out the solution, give me a minute.
Yes. Loading.
Loading. Processing bar. Off the head.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I do have a random question I thought of. What is considered like a difficult hairstyle to you, and then like why would you consider it like challenging to you too?
I would say it depends. So if there's different levels of difficulty hairstyles, I would say there's obviously texture, like say if they are like the super super tight curly hair. Mm-hmm. And they are wanting something super smooth and sleek. You know, it's more of a process. I wouldn't say that's like a hard hairstyle, but there's more a longer process and time consuming. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's that. I would say my more difficult hairstyles that have been fun challenges is like when the bride has like shorter, thinner hair and like we're adding a ton of extensions and totally like transforming her complete look. Yeah. And I think those are fun, and like I would say more of a brain challenge because you're trying to figure out how to make this style that she wants to come to life, and you're having to add a bunch of elements to make it happen because you just can't do it with her hair. Yeah. And I think every updo has an element of that. Just because updos, I mean, we don't wear our hair in updos every day. Like, formal hair is just not, like, an everyday norm. And so there is a transformational process that, you know, I don't know, it's a thing. But I would say the really extensions. Like, I remember I had a model for a style shoot, and she was a platinum blonde, short, like, pixie bob almost. Like it was like a really fun, like cute, edgy style. And she brought extensions, and we were doing a big like Rapunzel braid, like the Rapunzel braids that I do a lot of. Yeah. And so we like totally. I wish I didn't take like an actual before picture of her hair. Like I kind of like lifted up and like took a little bit. Like you could tell that her hair was like at her jawline, but that was like a really big transformation of like her hair looked so different, and like there was a lot of really short layers, and like I had to make them look like they were like a long piece of hair. Oh, okay. Like in the back. So like I guess that's kind of tricky, and like I don't know, a little bit of puzzle, but like I love a good challenge. Like I think I love a hair challenge, like whether it's texture or like doing like a bunch of extension add-ins. Right.
Yeah, sometimes I love a good challenge too. Like I feel like I pretty much do the same glam like over and over again. And so sometimes it's just nice when somebody changes things up on you and it's like, oh, how do I figure this out now? It's really fun whenever you're given some sort of challenge sometimes. Yeah. Otherwise it does get really like repetitive and you're like, okay, like this again.
Yeah, I feel like, especially in the wedding industry, we get shown the same pictures. The same
Pinterest photos over and over and over again.
Yes, and so it's like you might be doing the same type of hairstyle on every bridal party. Like, yeah. And
bridesmaids all have the same photo.
Yes, no, seriously. And so it's like, especially the bridal parties where it's like all the bridesmaids pick the same exact style, and it's just like, okay, like you get super quick at it. It's like just second nature. And so I love it when I get shown a new photo that I've never seen before, or there's a texture difference, or we're doing some sort of transfer. I love it.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, I can clearly picture all the ones in my head that I've seen, like as far as hair and makeup, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure we've seen the same one.
Yeah. It's like the same like 20 photos like that get cycled through. people will show me a photo and be like, do you think you could do that? I'm like, I get shown that same picture every single bridal party. I think we're good.
But it's also really funny because some people show me things like, and not to like knock anybody or anything, but they're like, I feel like this is really different.
Yeah. It's like, no, but I saw that last week and the week before.
The week before that.
It's like, it's a really popular Pinterest picture.
It's like, just Google like boho hairstyle or natural bridal makeup and same pictures. Yeah, that's why I always tell people, like now my brides, I usually tell them to actually go grab inspo off of my own Instagram page, because they overall hire us for a reason. Yeah. And so I think it's nice when you can personally go onto whatever hairstylist or makeup artist's actual personal portfolios that they have and start just grabbing some images off of there, because at least we as the artists know how to complete that hairstyle, and we know how we did it, our techniques and everything. And then we also know that it's not like photoshopped in any capacity.
Yeah. Yeah, because so much, especially with AI now, like, you
that's crazy.
Don't know. Like,
you don't know what's real anymore.
You don't know what's real. And yeah, hair and makeup, it's like, it could be a filter. Like,
the whole entire thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It could be a filter or whatever. At least with like hair, I feel like makeup, you get that a lot more than hair. Because
I feel like with hair, it'd probably be the smoothness.
Yeah.
Like the texture that people probably would be able to smooth out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some of that. And then color changes. I'll see like Pinterest photos and it's like they slightly changed up the color, but it's the same photo. But that doesn't like really make a difference for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that definitely has a play in it.
Yeah, just a little bit. Okay, so I think we covered a lot of good stuff today. But thank you so much, Hannah, for coming on here, by the way. And then where can people find you on Instagram in case they want to check out your work?
Wild Rose Hair Artistry. There's like an underscore in between Wild Rose and Hair Artistry, but if you just look it up, it'll come up. So Wild Rose Hair Artistry, and then my website, you can find a link on it on my Instagram, and I'm on Pinterest as well. Everything's under Wild Rose Hair Artistry. So
I was gonna say, if any of you guys need a bridal hair inspo, look her up on Pinterest. I'm sure she has amazing work there too.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.